want to be fair to LeBron, and I want to be fair to Chris Paul in this video as the Lakers pick up a big old 109-102 win in Phoenix to now take home court against the Suns as LeBron and AD combined for 57 points. Anthony Davis was absolutely fantastic with 34 points, I think 10 rebounds as well, 7 assists if I'm not mistaken. He was incredible for the Lakers. So let me give flowers to Anthony Davis. He was called out. We talked about how abysmal his performance was against the Suns in game 1 of that series. He said it's my fault. He put that weight on his shoulders, and he delivered. I thought he was the Lakers' clearly their best player. He actually reminded me of Anthony Davis of last year, in which I thought Anthony Davis was the Lakers' best player. I've said this before, and I will say it again to my viewers out there. The Lakers are at their best, not when LeBron is the number one option, when Anthony Davis is option number 1. It has been that way, and I believe that to be true today. All right? LeBron was good to me during stretches. I didn't think he was great, though. And again, LeBron, we hold him on a higher pedestal. He's the most criticized athlete of all time. I'll be fair to LeBron. To be fair to King James, he's always been a guy that has looked at game 1 as a fill-me-out game, and he's always, for the most part, responded in game 2 throughout his career. He's literally like the best of all time at that. Like he's like 60% win percentage in game 2 after losing game 1. All the media hops on him after game 1s because he's LeBron and he always competes for championships. Sometimes he wins, a lot of times he loses, but he always competes. LeBron always responds in game 2. Say what you want about the way he leads, it works for game 2, right? LeBron let other guys eat, and he was facilitating and making sure other guys ate. He was a big part in that, 9 assists last night. I thought LeBron could have been more aggressive. I thought LeBron was a little too passive for me. If the Lakers are going to do this thing, LeBron, the way he played, can probably beat up on the Phoenix Suns and be enough for the Phoenix Suns because the Lakers are so dominant inside. Andre Drummond had his best game as a Laker, pretty much, and Anthony Davis had his best game in a while as a Laker. He pretty much did what he did against Phoenix towards the end of the regular season again, right? So he's had his 2 best games have been at the end of the regular season against Phoenix. I think he dropped 42, and then in game 2 he dropped 34. For me, the story of this game from Phoenix's perspective was still Chris Paul. Like, Chris Paul should sit it out. Let's call a spade a spade. If you're watching the game, Chris Paul is done. His shoulder is done. It's done. Monty Williams, coach for the Phoenix Suns, made the decision to go with Cameron Payne, who was, by the way, shout out Cameron Payne from Memphis. I was very hard on Cameron Payne early in his career. He's been incredible so far for Phoenix in the playoffs. He's been incredible. I'm seeing Chris Paul try to coach up a young Cameron Payne. Like, yo, you going to be the guy. And Monty Williams said Chris Paul didn't look right. I'm summarizing there. And they rolled with Cameron Payne for most of that second half, and he delivered. Just wasn't good enough. He's not an MVP of the league, right? Or MVP candidate of the league, or an all-time great Hall of Fame point guard. As great as Cam was, he ain't Chris Paul. And nothing's wrong with that, by the way. I do believe the story of this game, though, as great as AD was Chris Paul being hurt. Like, I thought the Lakers should have won game 1, and I thought with a healthy Chris Paul, the Suns would have won game 2. So I actually have this series in reverse. I thought the Lakers were lucky to win game 2 because Chris Paul just couldn't stay on the court. You had enough. You had enough from some of the Suns role players. DeAndre Ayton is still not missing from the field. Cam Payne gave you enough. You incorporate the fact that Devin Booker was pretty good, not great, not like how he was in game 1, but good enough. If Chris Paul comes along and just beats Chris Paul, the Suns win game 2. I thought the Lakers should have won game 1, right? So, all things considered, if LeBron's going to play passive, my Lakers are not going to win a ring. Now, I know you're like Taliaferro. You said AD needs to be the one. Yes. But if there's going to be a point, and LeBron has made himself into a really good jump shooter. Really good, by the way. Doesn't get enough credit how good of a jump shooter he is. If LeBron's going to not attack the rim with the mindset to score, it might not be against Phoenix because their players are young and they're smaller. And outside of Jay Crowder, I question the IQ of a couple of these guys in these situations. These are real situations. It might not be against the Suns in the first round or maybe even the Blazers or the Nuggets in the second round. But if the Clippers are able to get their stuff together or the Jazz are able to get their stuff together and win this round and then make it to the conference finals against maybe the Lakers, At some point, somebody's going to put one and one together and say, ever since LeBron's return, he's not necessarily attacking the rim with the same velocity and the same ferocity as he once did. And somebody's going to say, you know what? LeBron beat us at the rim. The Jazz could put Rudy Gobert right in there and go straight up man-to-man, chest-to-chest. Is what you put in the gym versus what I did. And do enough to make LeBron pass out and pass out to shooters who sometimes make shots and sometimes don't. And they're just going to let LeBron have his way from the perimeter. If you lose to LeBron shooting three-pointers, guess what? It's over anyway. If that means you can keep AD from going off, if LeBron ain't going to attack the rim, you got yourself a chance against the Lakers. I like the way Anthony Davis played a lot. He was great. I love that. LeBron was cool. 23 points. I'm not mad at the point production. But I'm looking at him attack the rim. 0 free throw attempts for LeBron last night. That ain't LeBron-like. And we know he's hurt. But now I'm starting to ask myself the question, who's more hurt? LeBron or Chris Paul? Off the face value, you say obviously Chris because he can barely dribble. But LeBron is such a premier athlete, I don't think it's an unfair question. Something's not right with LeBron in that ankle. You know, he said he'll never be 100% again. I'm just thinking to myself, man, how hurt is LeBron? Because that will be a big factor if the Lakers want to repeat as champions.